Jax's revenge domain.
Sorry to say, but you're fired. Pierce Hawkins delivered those words at 6:47 p.m. on a Friday, right as I was reviewing the final merger documents that would net me a $4.2 million retention bonus. One day before it was due to hit my account. My name is Braden Walsh, I'm 47 years old, and I'd been senior legal director at Apex Therapeutics for 22 years. What happened next taught me something about the difference between being smart and being strategic. I set my Mont Blanc pen down on the mahogany conference table. The rhythmic tapping I'd been doing stopped completely. I understand, I said, keeping my voice level. Pierce probably expected me to argue, maybe plead my case. Instead, I just nodded. Pack your office this weekend. Security will escort you out Monday morning, he continued, that smirk playing across his face. At 38, Pierce thought he had all the answers. Fresh MBA from Wharton, son of the former board chairman, full of ideas about modernizing our outdated legal department. The irony wasn't lost on me. 6 months earlier, I'd been the one drafting the key personnel clauses for our $280 million acquisition of Biogen Solutions. Standard stuff in pharmaceutical mergers. You want to make sure critical people stick around through closing, so you build in penalties if they leave. I'd flagged it in my memo to the legal team. Designated personnel terminations trigger force majeure provisions and material adverse change protocols. But Pierce never read memos from dinosaurs like me. I'd seen this coming for weeks. Budget meetings where my input got cut short. Strategy sessions I wasn't invited to. The way conversations stopped when I walked into the break room. When you've been around corporate environments as long as I have, you learn to read the pressure gauges before they hit red. The warning signs started 3 months ago when Pierce brought in Diane Foster as outside legal counsel. Diane had made her reputation streamlining legal departments before major transactions. Her first presentation was titled Optimizing Legal Resources for Enhanced Profitability. Corporate speak for fire the expensive people. I'd been through this dance before. 15 years ago, I got passed over for senior partner at my previous firm because I lacked political savvy. That taught me to always have a backup plan, always build in protection mechanisms, always read the fine print, especially the fine print you wrote yourself. After college, I started as a junior associate making $45,000 a year. Worked 80-hour weeks, lived on ramen and coffee, all to climb the corporate ladder. By 30, I was making decent money. By 35, I was handling major deals. By 40, I was one of 3 senior legal directors at Apex. I thought loyalty mattered. I thought experience counted for something. Pierce taught me otherwise. He'd been brought in 8 months earlier with a mandate to right-size operations. The board loved his energy, his fresh perspective, his willingness to make tough decisions. What they didn't love, apparently, was paying senior-level salaries when they could hire 2 junior lawyers for the same cost. That Friday night, after Pierce dropped his bombshell, I went home to my downtown condo and opened a bottle of 2018 Cabernet. My ex-wife used to say I overthought everything. Maybe she was right. But overthinking had kept me employed through 4 different CEOs, 3 major restructures, and 2 economic downturns. I pulled out the merger agreement. Section 14.7 stared back at me. Key personnel designation. The language was crystal clear. In the event that any designated personnel, including but not limited to the lead legal counsel responsible for due diligence coordination, is terminated without cause within 90 days of anticipated closing, such termination shall constitute a material adverse change triggering the penalty provisions outlined in Schedule C. Schedule C was brutal, $45 million penalty, plus the right for Biogen to walk away from the entire deal. I designated myself as lead legal counsel 6 months ago. Standard practice. The acquiring company needs continuity and legal oversight. I'd even sent a memo explaining the rationale. Pierce must have deleted it without reading. The memo had been detailed. 3 pages outlining risk factors, mitigation strategies, and cure period recommendations. I'd learned to document everything after that partnership disappointment 15 years ago. Cover your back, protect your work, make sure someone can't claim ignorance later. I'd worked on dozens of mergers over the years. Healthcare acquisitions, biotech partnerships, pharmaceutical licensing deals. You learn that every transaction has pressure points, places where the wrong move can unravel months of negotiation. Key personnel clauses exist for exactly this reason. Biogen wasn't some startup desperate for an exit. They were a profitable biotech company with 3 FDA-approved oncology drugs and a pipeline worth $500 million. Their board had been skeptical about the merger from day one. Too much integration risk, they said. Too much regulatory uncertainty? The key personnel clause gave them an insurance policy. If Apex couldn't maintain stability in critical positions, Biogen could walk away clean. take the penalty money, and find a better partner. Saturday morning, my phone started ringing. Junior associates calling with panicked questions about deal timelines. I let them go to voicemail. Sarah Lawson called about document deadlines. Voicemail. Marcus Rodriguez needed clarification on FDA filing requirements. Voicemail. By Sunday afternoon, I had 47 missed calls from our office. I didn't return any of them. Sunday night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my mentor, Judge Patricia Williams, retired now but still sharp as a tack. She'd been the one who taught me about reading contracts like chess games. Braden, you sound like someone who just discovered a gas leak. Patricia, hypothetically, if someone fired a key personnel designee in a major merger, what would happen? Hypothetically, the other party would exercise their walkaway rights faster than you could say material adverse change, and financially, depends on the penalty structure, could be anywhere from 10 to 20% of deal value. I did the math in my head. 20% of $280 million was $56 million. Even my conservative $45 million estimate would be catastrophic. Monday morning, 8:23 a.m., I was drinking coffee in my kitchen when my personal cell buzzed. Text message from Janet Morrison, Biogen's lead counsel, Braden, heard about your termination. Per Section 14.7, we're initiating material adverse change protocols. 72-hour notice period starts now. That's when I knew the dominoes were falling. I'd worked with Janet for 18 months on this deal. She was thorough, detail-oriented, exactly the kind of lawyer who reads every clause twice. Biogen's board had been nervous about the acquisition from the start. Too much regulatory risk, they said. Too much integration complexity. The key personnel clause gave them a clean exit strategy if anything went sideways. Pierce firing me was exactly the kind of sideways they'd been waiting for. My phone rang again. Different number this time, Mr. Walsh. This is Timothy Parker from the Wall Street Journal. We're hearing rumors about instability at Apex Therapeutics related to your recent departure. Any comment? How the hell did reporters already know? I hung up without saying anything. In my experience, when business journalists start calling on Monday morning about Friday terminations, someone's been leaking information. Probably Biogen's PR team getting ahead of the story. Another call. This one from my financial advisor, Greg Matthews. Braden, what's going on? I'm seeing unusual activity in Apex's stock price. Down 8% in pre-market trading. Can't talk right now, Greg. Should I be concerned about your retention bonus payment? I almost laughed. That $422 million was probably the least of anyone's concerns at this point. At 9:15 a.m., my office phone rang. I was still at home, remember, supposed to be packing my desk under security escort, but the caller ID showed Apex's main number. Braden, thank God. This is Diane Foster. We need to talk. Now Diane's voice had lost all its consultant confidence. Gone was the crisp efficiency from her presentations. She sounded like someone who just discovered a gas leak in her basement. Pierce is asking about some clause. Something about designated personnel. Janet Morrison called this morning talking about material adverse changes. What the hell is Section 14.7? I started tapping my pen against the kitchen counter. Slow, measured beats. It's a key personnel protection provision. Standard in pharma mergers. Designed to prevent exactly what happened Friday night. Which is what? Exactly. Biogen now has grounds to terminate the merger and collect a $45 million penalty. Silence. Then, oh God. I sent a memo about this 6 months ago. Risk mitigation strategies. The entire legal team was copied. Pierce never mentioned any memo. Of course he hadn't. Pierce didn't read memos from outdated legal directors. He was too busy revolutionizing our industry practices. Diane, I'm going to ask you to do something. Check the merger agreement, Section 14.7, subsection 3. Read it word for word. I heard papers rustling, computer keys clicking, then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God, you're designated as lead legal counsel. Your termination triggers. More rustling. Material adverse change provisions. Biogen can exercise their walkaway rights and collect penalty damages of $45 million. This can't be right. There has to be a workaround. Some kind of cure period. I picked up my coffee mug, noting the temperature had dropped from scalding to lukewarm. In legal terms, that's about how long it takes for a corporate crisis to go from manageable to catastrophic. There's a 72-hour notice period. After that, Biogen can formally terminate unless the designated personnel issue is resolved. Resolved how? Reinstatement of terminated personnel. Full restoration of previous position and responsibilities. Another silence. Longer this time, I could practically hear the wheels turning in Diane's head. She was calculating billable hours, client relationships, professional reputation, all of it hanging on a clause I'd written to protect exactly this scenario. Braden, I need you to come in. We need to fix this. I don't work there anymore, remember? Pierce made that clear Friday night. This is bigger than Pierce. The board doesn't know yet. If Biogen walks and takes the penalty, our stock price will crater. We're talking about a $325 million swing in company valuation. I started tapping my pen faster. The rhythm matched my heart rate, which was climbing despite my outward calm. 22 years of institutional knowledge, and they tried to throw it away to save on payroll costs. Diane, I'm going to give you some free legal advice, the same advice I gave 6 months ago in that memo Pierce didn't read. The cure period expires in 71 hours. After that, this becomes a material breach with no remedy available. What do you want? That was the question I've been waiting for. Not what did I need, or what would it take to fix this. What did I want? The difference mattered. I want to talk to the board, direct communication, no intermediaries. Pierce will never agree to that. Pierce doesn't get a vote anymore. This is fiduciary duty territory now. The board has legal obligations to shareholders. If they don't address this, they're looking at potential lawsuits. While Diane scrambled to arrange damage control, I took a shower and put on my best suit. Navy blue Armani, the one I wore for major depositions. If I was going to negotiate my way back into Apex, I wanted to look like someone worth $4.2 million. My reflection in the bathroom mirror showed someone who'd been expecting this day for months, maybe years. The gray at my temples had been spreading since my divorce 3 years ago. The lines around my eyes came from 22 years of reading contracts in fluorescent lighting. But the eyes themselves still looked sharp, still looked like someone who knew how to play chess while others were playing checkers. I'd learned something important during that partnership disappointment 15 years ago. In corporate America, loyalty flows upward but rarely downward. Companies will squeeze every ounce of productivity from experienced employees, then replace them with cheaper alternatives the moment it's convenient. But they forget that experience isn't just about knowing how to do the job. It's about knowing where all the bodies are buried. It's about understanding which seemingly innocent clauses can destroy multi-million-dollar deals. It's about building protection mechanisms that activate precisely when you need them most. The emergency board meeting was called for 2 p.m. that day. Conference room 12, executive floor. I'd been in that room dozens of times over the years, but never as a consultant. Never as someone they needed instead of someone they tolerated. Gary Thornton, board chairman for 8 years, opened with the obvious question. Explain to me how we got here. I placed my Mont Blanc pen on the table, same pen, same table, where Pierce had fired me 72 hours earlier. This time the tapping was deliberate, controlled, each beat marking another second closer to Biogen's deadline. Section 14.7 of the merger agreement designates specific personnel as critical to transaction completion. I drafted that section to protect against exactly what happened Friday. Personnel instability during final closing phases. Pierce, sitting at the far end of the table, tried to interject. We had every right to restructure the legal department. Braden's position was redundant. Gary held up a hand. Pierce's mouth snapped shut like a filing cabinet. Continue, Braden. The clause includes penalty provisions, material adverse change protocols. If designated personnel are terminated without cause within 90 days of closing, the other party can exercise walkaway rights. And the financial impact? $45 million penalty to Apex, plus Biogen keeps their $15 million in due diligence costs. Total exposure, $60 million. I heard someone's chair creak. Probably Angela Pearson from HR, realizing her department had just created the most expensive termination in company history. There's more, I continued. Biogen's board meets Thursday. If they vote to terminate, the deal dies permanently. No renegotiation, no cure period extension. We lose our entire strategy for entering the oncology market. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Board members started shifting in their seats, looking at each other with the kind of expressions you see in emergency rooms. Gary's pen had stopped moving across his notepad. What are our options? Legal reinstatement of terminated personnel, full restoration of position, responsibilities, and compensation, demonstration of good faith and cure period compliance. Pierce finally found his voice. This is extortion. Braden engineered this whole situation. I turned to look at him directly. No anger, no smugness. Just the calm focus you develop after 22 years of reading contracts for a living. Pierce, I wrote a memo 6 months ago outlining exactly this risk. I recommended mitigation strategies. I suggested additional cure period negotiations with Biogen. That memo was sent to the entire legal team, including your office. I never received any memo. Diane Foster opened her laptop. Pierce, I've got the email chain right here. Sent to your primary address. CC'd to your assistant. Tagged as high priority. Read receipt shows you opened it March 15th at 2:33 p.m. The room went quiet. You could hear the ventilation system humming, that low white noise that fills expensive conference rooms when expensive mistakes get discovered. Board member Elizabeth Hayes cleared her throat. Pierce, is this accurate? I get hundreds of emails every day. I can't be expected to remember every memo from every department. This wasn't just any memo, I said quietly. This was a risk assessment for our largest acquisition in company history. The memo specifically warned about key personnel stability requirements. Another board member, Charles Whitfield, leaned forward. What was the recommendation? 3 options. First, negotiate expanded cure periods with Biogen. Second, designate multiple personnel as backups for critical roles. Third, implement mandatory review protocols for any terminations within 120 days of closing. And what happened to these recommendations? Nothing, no response, no implementation, no acknowledgement. Gary looked at his watch. How much time do we have? 67 hours until Biogen's notice period expires. And what exactly would reinstatement look like? This was the moment I'd been preparing for since Friday night. The moment when 22 years of institutional knowledge translated into leverage, when strategic thinking paid dividends on patience. I'd spent the weekend calculating not just what I wanted, but what I was worth. The merger had taken 18 months to structure. My work on FDA regulatory compliance alone had saved the company millions in potential delays. The due diligence coordination I'd managed involved 47 different documents and 12 regulatory agencies. Senior legal director position, equity partner track. 5-year employment contract with standard termination protections, compensation adjustment to reflect the risk I'm taking by staying through this transition. What kind of adjustment? I picked up my pen, rolled it between my fingers like a surgeon selecting instruments, double the retention bonus, $4 million, plus equity participation in the merged entity. Pierce's face went red. That's highway robbery. No, I said quietly. That's the market rate for preventing a $60 million loss. Elizabeth Hayes was taking notes furiously. Braden, help me understand the timeline pressure. Why can't we simply replace you with another qualified legal director? Biogen's board specifically approved me as lead legal counsel after an 8-month due diligence process. They've met with me personally. They've reviewed my track record on pharmaceutical transactions. They've signed off on my oversight of their proprietary drug formulas and clinical trial data. I paused to let that sink in. Replacing me would require Biogen's board approval for the new designee. That process typically takes 4 to 6 weeks. We have 67 hours. Charles Whitfield leaned back in his chair. So we're essentially trapped. We're operationally dependent on continuity, I corrected, which is exactly why key personnel clauses exist. Angela Pearson spoke for the first time. What about Pierce's authority to make personnel decisions? Are we setting a precedent that terminations can be challenged this way? Pierce had full authority to terminate me, I said, but authority and wisdom are different things. No one questioned his right to fire me. The question is whether anyone questioned the consequences. Gary was already reaching for his phone. Angela, draft a reinstatement agreement. Diane, call Biogen and request a 24-hour extension on their notice period. Tell them we're resolving the personnel issue. What about me? Pierce asked, his voice smaller now. Gary's tone had shifted, no longer collegial, more like a board chairman talking to someone who just cost the company $45 million. Pierce, you'll be working with HR on a transition plan. We'll discuss the timing privately. That was it. No dramatic confrontation, no boardroom shouting match. Just the quiet efficiency of damage control when the damage runs into 8 figures. The meeting lasted 3 hours. By 5 p.m., I had a signed reinstatement letter. By 6 p.m., Diane had negotiated a 48-hour extension with Biogen. By 7 p.m., the press release was drafted announcing my promotion to senior partner and chief legal officer. Pierce lasted another 6 weeks, resigned to pursue other opportunities. The board hired a new CEO with 25 years of pharmaceutical experience, someone who reads memos. 3 weeks later, I was back in my office. Same desk, same view of the downtown skyline, but different business cards. Braden Walsh, senior partner and chief legal officer. The Biogen merger closed on schedule. My retention bonus hit my account exactly when it was supposed to, albeit with some interesting multipliers. The $8.4 million felt different than I'd expected. Not because of the amount, but because of what it represented. For 22 years, I'd been paid for my time, my expertise, my availability. This payment was for something else entirely. This was compensation for being essential rather than replaceable. My first order of business was hiring 2 additional senior legal directors. Not junior associates fresh out of law school, but experienced professionals who understood pharmaceutical regulations, FDA compliance, and merger complexity. People who could read contracts like chess games and spot problems before they became catastrophes. The second hire was Jennifer Rodriguez, 51, former Deputy General Counsel at Merck with 18 years of experience in oncology partnerships. The third was David Campbell, 48, who'd spent 15 years navigating biotech acquisitions for Johnson & Johnson. Both commanded significant salaries. Both were worth every penny. We're building institutional redundancy, I explained to Gary Thornton during our monthly board meeting. No single person should ever again hold the keys to a $280 million transaction. Gary nodded approvingly. What about succession planning? Every major deal now requires multiple designated personnel. Primary, secondary, and tertiary coverage. If someone gets hit by a bus, we don't lose the transaction. The new protocols I'd implemented were comprehensive mandatory risk assessments for all personnel changes within 120 days of major closings, executive review requirements for any terminations affecting ongoing transactions, documentation standards that made ignoring memos virtually impossible. Pierce's replacement was Dr. Margaret Stevens, 54, former CEO of 2 successful pharmaceutical companies. Our first meeting lasted 4 hours. She read every memo I'd written in the past 2 years, all of them. Braden, I want to understand something, she said during our second week working together. How did Pierce miss the Section 14.7 issue? He prioritized cost-cutting over operational continuity. Classic MBA thinking. Reduce expenses without understanding the revenue protection mechanisms you're dismantling. And you saw this coming? I built the protection mechanism specifically because I saw it coming. The question wasn't whether they'd try to replace experienced people with cheaper alternatives. The question was whether they'd do it at the worst possible time. Dr. Stevens leaned back in her chair. So you engineered your own job security. I engineered transaction security. My job security was a side benefit. Over the following months, I watched the industry carefully. 3 other pharmaceutical companies attempted similar cost-cutting measures during major acquisitions. 2 of them triggered penalty clauses. One deal collapsed entirely, costing the acquiring company $89 million in lost synergies and penalty payments. The trade publication started calling it the Walsh Protocol Key Personnel Protection Clauses designed to prevent executive-level terminations from destroying multi-million-dollar transactions. Law firms began marketing similar provisions to their clients. I started receiving speaking requests from industry conferences. My first presentation was at the American Bar Association's annual Mergers and Acquisitions Symposium, the topic, Protecting Institutional Knowledge in Complex Transactions. The audience was 300 lawyers, investment bankers, and corporate executives. Average age, probably 52. How many of you have seen companies fire experienced employees right before major closings? I asked during the opening. About 80% of the hands went up. How many have seen those terminations cause transaction problems? Fewer hands, but still significant, maybe 40%. How many have seen those problems cost more than the salary savings from the terminations? A dozen hands. But those dozen represented companies that had learned expensive lessons. My presentation focused on practical implementation rather than legal theory. How to identify critical personnel, how to structure protection clauses, how to balance cost management with operational continuity. The response was overwhelmingly positive. 6 months later, I was invited to join the board of directors at Therapeutics Consolidated, a $2 billion pharmaceutical company based in Boston. The chairman's letter mentioned my innovative approach to transaction risk management. The compensation was $150,000 annually for quarterly meetings and strategic consultation. The irony wasn't lost on me. Pierce had fired me to save money on legal salaries. Now I was earning more from board positions and speaking fees than I'd ever made as an employee. My total annual compensation had increased by 180%, but the money was secondary to something more important: respect. Recognition that experience and institutional knowledge have measurable value. Acknowledgement that wisdom accumulated over decades can't be replaced with enthusiasm and fresh perspectives. My ex-wife called one evening after seeing an article about me in the Financial Times. "Braden, you sound different, more confident. I feel different. I spent 20 years thinking job security came from being irreplaceable. Turns out it comes from being properly valued. What's the difference? Being irreplaceable makes you a single point of failure. Being properly valued makes you an asset worth protecting." The Biogen integration was completed 8 months after the merger closed. The combined company now has 4 FDA-approved oncology drugs and a development pipeline worth $1.2 billion. My equity participation in the merged entity has already appreciated by $2.3 million. I kept that pen, same Mont Blanc I'd been tapping during the crisis. These days, I use it to sign partnership agreements and equity documents. The rhythm's different now, more confident, less calculating. Dr. Stevens and I have developed what she calls institutional memory preservation protocols, detailed documentation of all major decisions, cross-training requirements for critical functions, succession planning that extends beyond individual personalities. We're not just protecting against terminations, she explained to the board last month. We're protecting against knowledge loss, relationship disruption, and operational discontinuity. The pharmaceutical industry has noticed. Apex Therapeutics is now considered a model for transaction management and personnel stability. Our employee retention rates are 23% higher than industry average. Our deal completion success rate is 94%. Listen, if you're over 45 and working in corporate America, you need to understand something. Your company will replace you the moment it becomes convenient, regardless of your loyalty, your performance, or your institutional knowledge. That's not cynicism, that's business reality. But here's what they don't teach in business school. Experience has strategic value that extends far beyond day-to-day operations. You understand consequences that younger employees can't anticipate. You've built relationships that took decades to establish, where the operational landmines are buried. The key is converting that experience into leverage before you need it. Build protection mechanisms while you're still valued. Document your institutional knowledge while you're still employed. Create operational dependencies that make your departure expensive rather than convenient. Don't wait for the termination meeting to discover your worth. Establish it while you still have negotiating power.